TIFU by leaving a bag of condoms out. TIFU. I get condoms every time I go to the clinic for STD testing, getting my birth control. I think it's good to keep on hand even though my BF and I don't use them very much. Like if I screw up my pills on accident. Which I've done before. Anyways, I was gone this morning for a meeting and my BF tidied up my place while I was gone. And he came across a bag that had my emergency contraceptive, birth control box, and the godforsaken condoms. I came home shortly after and on the way home he texted me about it. I was able to catch him before he left and I realized how serious he was about it. I didn't quite understand why since they were all unopened. So in my mind less suspicious. But he seemed really hurt. He had brought up Saturday, which was one of my days off and I wanted to spend some time by myself. On Saturday he asked to come over late that night, and I just wasn't up to seeing anybody. I didn't feel like tidying up my place or freshening up to see him. I was looking forward to a rare night in by myself. Plus I had work early the next morning and because he works late, I would have to stay up late too. He wasn't really happy to hear that. Even after I explained that I was exhausted from the past week and that I'm a loner at heart. So because of my insistence on being alone and finding the condoms, he thinks I'm seeing someone, and that they came over on Saturday. I don't really know what to do about this since 1. I'm not cheating, 2. I would never even think of cheating. I'm not like that, and 3. I love him and would never want to hurt him. Even though I haven't done anything to tarnish our relationship. I hate that this has hurt him and wish he would believe me. Now he isn't really speaking with me. Which I get. I hope some time will help it. I've given him permission to look through my things since I don't have anything to hide. So moral of the story. Don't leave condoms out. Even if you're not doing anything shady. TLDR. Left a bag of condoms out. Boyfriend thinks I'm cheating. I'm not, but it looks pretty bad. I'd say his mind got the better of him. Dudes need reassuring sometimes and he was looking for that Saturday. Give it some time and explain like you did on here. He will get it. Just reassure him. You say that you and your BF don't use them very often. Meaning you've used them with him in the past? Did you mention this to him? Based on what I'm reading, this sounds absolutely logical. Did you explain this all to him in the way you've explained it here? Tell him, honey, they're free. And remind him you also take those mints at the restaurant counter. Not much is free anymore in life. Thank goodness condoms are. Moral of the story is have a relationship where y'all trust each other and maybe also communicate that you have condoms in general for that reason. A bag? What am I? A hooker? Elaine from Seinfeld. If you have them on hand for use with your boyfriend, doesn't he know about this bag, has seen it? Have you never had a conversation with him about why you have condoms? There is probably an underlying issue that is fueling his insecurities. Do you have a close male friend, coworker he might be jealous of? Do you often prioritize spending time with others over spending time with him? As an anxious man myself, these are things I tend to get hung up on and let eat away at my trust. If there's truly is nothing else that's making him paranoid, then you've done all you could. You told him the truth. And if he isn't willing to accept it, then he won't ever grow to trust you. If he can't trust you, then that's an issue. You already said that you and he sometimes use them. So why on earth would he be suspicious of you possessing them? That's not a good sign. I've been in a similar position as your BF and I also felt a little weird about it. Just reassure him and give him time. The worst thing you could do is make him feel bad about it. It's terrible to feel like you're in trouble or bad when you're already worried your partner has strayed. It's not your fault, and you did nothing wrong. But he didn't either. Ask him how he would have liked you to handle it and try to meet him where he's at. He appears insecure in your relationship, and the lack of communication won't help resolve it. I've had this happen to me, and we eventually broke up because he wasn't secure in the relationship. And I didn't tolerate his need for constant reassurance and eventual abusive behavior. If you can come to an understanding, that is awesome. But be prepared to have some growing pains along the way. Nope. Sometimes SHT just looks really awkward. I came home at one point to a beer on both bedside tables, a bloody tissue in the bathroom trash, and some other off thing. Turned out my husband forgot where he left one beer, so he started a second. Had cut himself shaving. Pre-burr. And the other thing was also totally innocent. But it looked sketchy. I think if he posted on Reddit from his perspective, people would be saying things like, "Come on man. You know the truth. You didn't have to post on here to tell you the obvious." Sounds like in your relationship you don't really use condoms often. If that's the case, he has good reason to believe those condoms were never meant for him. If that's all the case, then his theory makes perfect sense. You're acting weird, not letting him over. You suddenly have contraceptives he didn't know about. You have no alibi for the weekend. Do what you want, but I actually don't think giving space is the right move. He knows what he knows, and he's going to continue to reason out the situation. Like it or not, the most reasonable explanation from his perspective is that you spent the weekend with another man. If that's not true, you need to reach out and make it clear you understand why he believes it, but that is not what happened. I'm sorry, but unpopular opinion here. If I was him and we hadn't been having protected sex in a long time, this would bother me too. I might also think you were cheating, because why else would you have condoms? I think this is all a big misunderstanding for sure. But man, it's going to be hard to convince him otherwise. Well, I think you should talk to him as soon as possible. The longer this takes to resolve, the more he will be in his head. This could make him do things he would otherwise never even fathom. I hope the best for you and him.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.